Good afternoon, TechNation. Welcome to another Webinar Wednesday. Fluke Biomedical, the premier global provider of test and measurement equipment and services to the healthcare industry, is the sponsor for today's presentation, which is eligible for 0.1 CE credits from the ACI. As we always do, we're going to do a giveaway. Let's give away one of our fantastic TechNation pullovers to the attendee that can correctly tell me what city Fluke Biomedical calls home. Here's a hint. It's in Washington, but not Seattle. Go ahead and answer now using your questions and answer feature on your dashboard. While we're waiting, I want to remind everybody that the MD Expo Dallas is coming up in just 43 days. Fluke Biomedical has included a VIP pass in the webinar workbook, which will give complimentary entrance into our 3-day expo. You can register by visiting mdexposhow.com. It looks like we got a winner, Todd Schmeckel.
Schmeckel looks right.
Looks like Todd Schmeckel has won. Congratulations, Todd. We're going to email you to get your size for your great TechNation pullover. Okay, our presenters today are going to be Shireen Khanna and Jerry Zion from Fluke Biomedical. Shireen is a leading force behind product innovation at Fluke Biomedical, driving customer research and product design. She has been instrumental in introducing the newest test automation software, electrical safety analyzers, infusion device, and electrosurgical analyzers to the biomedical test market. Jerry Zion is a renowned veteran in the medical device industry with over 35 years experience working in many capacities for various hospitals and medical device manufacturers. Jerry is an AAMI certified biomedical equipment technician. Jerry, you can begin whenever you are ready.
Great, thanks. Well, we're going to talk about electrosurgical device testing and best practices today. And just to start off, let's review some basics. ESUs, electrosurgery units, are use a high-frequency electrical current to cut tissue and to control bleeding through coagulation, and more recently to actually seal vessels. The tissue resistance can cause tissue destruction due to heating effect, and that's exactly what we want when we cut, but not what we want when we're doing some other things. The current delivered through the cables and electrodes, which may be activated by either a hand or a foot switch. ESU modes of operation. The first and one of the ones that we worry about the most is the monopolar mode. The current in this mode is delivered through active cables and electrodes, and the current returns through a return pad or plate. These days in modern ESUs, we're using an adhesive pad as the return. You'll still find, however, some metal plates that are still in use, and those are much, much more dangerous. The bipolar mode uses 2 electrodes, and this comes in the form of a forceps or a scissor, and that serves as both active and dispersive leads, or patient return, if you will, for the bipolar mode. When we're in these modes, we can either cut or we can coagulate. So in the cut operation, there's a couple of different ways that we can do this. Pure cut is typically for dissection only. It's a narrow, deep, and the surgeon has little or no control over bleeding, and it's obtained by high frequency and low voltage. The blended cut makes a wider incision, and it arrives with lower frequency and higher voltage than pure cut does. In the coag or coagulation function, the heat is incapable of explosive vaporization, so it doesn't really destroy the tissue. It results in a thermal coagulum or clot that seals off the small bleeders and so forth. The surgeon has more control over the bleeding with this, and the tissue is allowed time to cauterize between the contacts. It's achieved with a high voltage and a low frequency, typically. So let's talk about 10 best practices when you're doing quality assurance testing on electrosurgery units. First of all, always follow the manufacturer's guidelines and procedures when you're doing the testing. Refer to the service manual to find the inspection or testing procedure, and complete the tasks as they are listed and as they're required. This produces your workflow. Follow the recommended inspection frequency, and there are ways you can cross-check on that frequency if you wish, and we teach that in our medical device quality assurance testing series of courses. We'll give you a little preview of that. Adopt a consistent inspection frequency. If the service manual and inspection procedure is not available, you're still responsible for coming up with an inspection frequency. That's what you will be audited to. So to determine that, you might use something like this, what you see here, a risk-based approach. When we use this approach, the column called score is summed up, and at the bottom you'll see the total risk score on the row above the last one. Twice a year is what's recommended for electrosurgery units, and twice a year is what we came up with in this. The 13 or higher means twice per year. Number 3, standardize the testing. Standardizing the test procedure means lock it down, make sure everybody follows that procedure exactly in the same order and does the testing in the same way. This produces a tracking mechanism and puts that in place, and you could use an automation program to do that. Important to get a quantitative assessment that can be compared to the manufacturer's specifications and or the IEC, AAMI, ANSI, or other global ESU standards. In fact, it's important when you consider traceability and the unbroken chain of traceability of the medical device, which has been tested by the test tool that you're using, the test instrument, which is traceable all the way back to SI. That's the traceability path. And it's important to understand, therefore, whether the measurement that you're making is in or out of specification. Don't change the procedure without a rationale statement. Change the description and the validation data. Don't do any of those without a good rationale. So basically you need to say why you're making the change, what is the change that you're going to make, and how will you validate that you're getting a good test result since you're changing it away from what the manufacturer recommended. Now, recently there was a CMS ruling that said that for critical medical devices we're not allowed to change anything. So in the United States, so that your hospital is protected for Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement, you're better off to not change anything. Number 4, you make sure that you're getting one comprehensive test report, not a whole bunch of separate test reports. You want to pair additional test equipment with your electrosurgical analyzer in order to come up with this comprehensive testing. Most PM procedures, or calibration verifications, as we'll put it from a metrology terminology point of view, require electrical safety tests. Have one handy. You may use a medical oscilloscope to show the actual wave shape of the output energy from the ESU. In fact, we think that's a great idea to look at that, because any variation in that wave shape from what it should look like, and most of the ESU manufacturers will provide an example of what it should look like in the service manual. Any deviation or variation in that wave shape means there's something else going on inside that ESU, and you need to troubleshoot it or have the manufacturer troubleshoot it and repair it. Number 5, use your test leads safely. Keep all your test leads and interconnecting cables as short as possible. Do not cross or coil the mains. We're using radio frequency energy here. Any coils or crossed cables begin to act more like antennas, and as a result can produce an electromotive force and a current flow in adjacent test leads. that's going to make your measurement incorrect. Either it will add to your measurement and make it incorrectly high, or it will alter in some way your measurement unbeknownst to you. So be sure that you're not crossing the cables, test leads, or coiling them at all. Number 6, dealing with active electrodes. Most of us for many, many, many years have been improvising connections in order to run the tests on electrosurgery units. And that means we use alligator clips and we try and use the disposable pencil with the hand controls, and it's just dangerous. The reason is because you could touch by accident the active electrode or the return plate of the ESU while the ESU is activated in either cut or coag mode. That's going to cause a current to flow through you, and you really don't want that. That could result in burns to yourself at minimum. So make sure you turn off the ESU before adjusting or removing connections. And be aware of other flammable hazards around you, especially if you're testing in the shop, including alcohol or oxygen flow or any other moisture in the area. You don't want things that more conductive paths than you originally had planned to have. Number 7, document electronically. Avoid common issues associated with documenting on paper. These include misplaced records, problems with legibility or the ability to read what you wrote down, skipped tests, accidental errors, filing problems, and it's just time consuming. What you want to do is get an analyzer with built-in data storage that can easily be transferred to your computer or your server drive so that you can archive the information and measured values, in fact, archive your test report. Number 8, always archive. The best place, of course, to archive is the CMMS, or Computerized Maintenance Management System. That's a database. Best place to keep our measurements and the records is really in that database. This allows for traceability in case of audits. It enables the trend analysis of data for accurate predictive maintenance when the database is prepared with a long-term statistical analysis capability. Databases are much more powerful than your local computer and can run that long-term trend, and by that you will actually be able to get to predictive maintenance and be able to schedule when that ESU is going to be taken out of clinical use long enough to do some scheduled replacement or repair. So that's where we really want to be, is at the predictive maintenance level. This increases the uptime for the device, and it helps contain the costs and gives some time savings because you can correct problems early before they get to be very expensive to fix. Number 9, automate what you can. Standardizing the testing allows us each test to be performed in the same way every time. That's really always a good idea. That makes it statistically sound. So when we do that long-term trend analysis, it really is not garbage in, garbage out. It's really good data, and we can really see that trend, and it will tell us what we need it to tell us. By automating, you can shorten the overall testing time. An example would be a typical preventive maintenance on an ESU should take about 35 minutes. With automation, this can be as low as 15 minutes depending on how you run the automation. Create an electronic record for easy archiving and for traceability, and reduces human error when you automate, especially when you can automatically collect the data and not have to transcribe it. That transcription process is full of opportunities for human error. Number 10, choose the right analyzer. Use the following criteria when choosing a test device. Can it test all ESU parameters required by the manufacturer, especially the newer, more innovative functionalities and parameters that are going into ESUs today? Lots of new and very innovative functionality in ESUs over the last 10 years or so. Is it easy to use and learn? Does it have the ability to store data for easy retrieval and reporting? Can it be automated? Can it be transported easily? What is the real return on the investment? And I know those of you that are just doing the testing all day, every day, probably don't care so much about that, but your manager does, and the director of your department does. So it's really important, and not only the return on investment due to the instrument itself, but also due to the improvement in uptime that you can get by using a really good analyzer and being able to get through the measurements that you need to make on a day-by-day basis. Now we're going to introduce QAES3, the analyzer itself. This is our newest, and I'll turn this over to Shireen Khanna to help us through this part.
Thank you, Jerry. So excited and very glad to introduce everyone to our brand new electrosurgical analyzer, the QAES3. Many of you may already be aware of the existing analyzer that we have, which is a QAES, or also referred to as a QAES2. This analyzer offers a lot of improvements. It's completely redesigned. So let's go through and look at what we have changed and added to make it easy to test and test quickly. So there's some exciting new features that have been added to the QAES3. First of all, the QAES2 had partial IEC standards compliance. So with the QAES3, we're glad to announce that it not only does it comply to ANSI/AAMI standards, but all the IEC standards for testing electrosurgical devices. We have doubled the range and made the product twice as accurate as its predecessor. So the QAES3 features industry-leading specifications in terms of range and accuracy. It has a best-in-class power measurement spec. It features built-in memory, so you can record everything on the analyzer for easy retrieval later. And this data retrieval can be done either through a wired USB interface or wirelessly. And finally, we have gotten rid of all the external boxes, which added cost and complexity. So there are no external boxes needed. Everything that you need is built into the analyzer. And while doing all of that, we've shaved off about 5.5 pounds or 2.5 kgs, which makes this product exceptionally light compared to its predecessor. The QAES3 is ideal for anyone working within a hospital or ISO performing preventative maintenance on electrosurgical devices. Anybody that needs to test a variety of ESUs in terms of types or brands, because this product is compatible with multiple brands and types of ESUs. The ESU analyzer is, there are three things we're going to touch on today in terms of its ability, and the theme really here is ready, set, test. But before we get into that, one of the other things I wanted to mention was a question we commonly get is the QAES3 or the QAES2 only ideal for biomedical professionals or service technicians that work in hospitals or medical facilities? The answer is absolutely for them, but even if it's a manufacturer that needs to use the QAES3, it's absolutely suitable for service technicians that travel around and need something quick as well as comprehensive to do the testing. So let's get into the specifics of the QAES3 in terms of its features and functionality. So the first theme is ready, and what that basically means is that we've made the product so that it's ready to use out of the box. which means that you don't have to think about any specialized accessories or anything else that you need to buy. When you open the box, you're good to go. You're ready to test. Everything that is needed to test ESUs is built into the unit. Like I had said before, we have built in all the functionalities, so external resistance boxes or switch boxes are no longer needed. They are included in the cost of the unit. There's also no need to get any extra cables or leads. We actually did a fair amount of research with our end users and realized that there are some common specialty needs that are needed. Providing them as an additional cost is not, in the best interest of our end users. They want everything combined into one package. So those are also now included with the QA-ES3. In addition to that, the product obviously is capable of testing all critical ESU functions with precise power, current, frequency, crest factor, and load resistance ranges. I had mentioned memory before. It has the capacity to store up to 5,000 records on board and conveniently transfer to a PC via Bluetooth interface. And it is automation ready. So the QA-ES3 does have built-in automation for power distribution tests, but in addition to that, as many of you might know, Fluke Biomedical has a wide-based automation software called Answer. This software allows you to integrate many parameters and create one test report. So for instance, you can take any preventative maintenance procedure you have today and create an exact electronic replica of it through Answer. And so when you hit go, Answer basically stepwise walks you through everything that needs to be done. At the end of it, it will produce one single report. And while doing that, Answer has the ability to automate our analyzers so that you're minimizing the manual work that is required in terms of pushing buttons or entering data. We've gotten rid of a lot of that extra work. So what that ends up doing is standardizing work, managing risk because you have all the data that you need in one place electronically stored and gathered, which reduces human error or the potential of human error. And it reduces the total test time because we've gotten rid of a lot of external button pushes and manual work. So automating everything makes it quicker and also makes sure that you have data integrity. And as I had said before, the QA-ES3 is really light to transport. In fact, when we recently introduced this product in the middle of February, and some of the initial feedback we had from our customers when they lifted the product was, can this work? Because it seems too light to be able to function well. So we always get a little, tickled with that because, the products. Typically, QA-ES type products, which are bent top instruments, tend to be really, really heavy and have the perception that they cannot be transported. But we believe we've changed that with the QA-ES3. In terms of the capability of the product, a lot of intelligent design has gone into the product to make sure that we can optimize the time and make it very, very quick. Because as you know, testing electrosurgical devices is a lengthy and comprehensive process. So some of the things that we have done at our end is to really focus on user interface. And with all of Fluke Biomedical products, we place a lot of emphasis on how end users actually go about doing their work and how we can change certain things on the products to make that very easy and to minimize the time it takes to be trained on the product. So the QA-ES3 comes with a new user interface that requires minimal training to start testing. There are fewer connections required to get the same job done, and the connections are organized so they're accessible very easily, so you don't have to look for connections all over the product. They're absolutely in the front of the product, and they're color-coded with leads, so that really reduces the potential for error. We've also placed emphasis on minimizing manual input. So the design has on-screen guides that will actually walk the end user through what needs to be done so that the end user knows exactly what it is that they need to basically do next in their preventative maintenance procedure. And I'd mentioned built-in automation for power distribution tests. So as you know, power distribution tests have a number of parameters that have to be tested in quick succession. this is a place where you can actually end up making some errors, not to mention if the product does not have the capability to document as you are stepping through the different loads. Writing things down is actually very intensive. So what we've done is made this automated so that the QA-ES3, you basically specify the initial load, it'll go through the entire test and it'll document all the parameters for you and also show you what they are on the screen. So that should really help avoid errors and speed up testing. And we also believe that the wireless connectivity through Bluetooth will make it faster and easier to transfer data and archive. As I had said earlier, the wireless option is there in the product, but we are also providing a cable for those who would like to transfer data through a wired mechanism. And finally, coming down to the capability of the product in terms of features and functions, this is an all-in-one analyzer, and the focus has really been on accuracy and quality. So the QA-ES3 is capable of collecting all measurements, including vessel sealing, contact quality monitor, also known as CQM, high-frequency leakage, and output power distribution in single or continuous mode. We have increased the range to test current, frequency, power, crest factor, and load resistance for any electrosurgery instrument. In fact, with this product, we've added an additional load, so it has the ability to test the force triad. The high output power accuracy for this product is 5%, which is twice as accurate for current measurement, and has the capability to test all modern high power electrosurgical units. So not only is the power accuracy industry leading, the current accuracy is also twice as improved to be able to offer you really specs that you can rely on that give you quality results. And I had mentioned earlier that the product complies to IEC as well as ANSI and AAMI standards. A quick glance at the specification. Basically, QA-ES3 can measure cut and coag waveforms and has both monopolar and bipolar outputs. You can also see here for generator output, you can measure power, current, voltage, crest factor. Vessel sealing loop current, the range is up to 5,500 milliamps and the accuracy is 2.5% of reading plus 1 milliamp. And then you can test high frequency leakage current in various configurations, whether it's fixed loads or variable loads. And then the CQM test is actually auto. And it goes from 0 to 475 ohms and steps up by 1 ohm. And finally, power distribution. As I had described just a couple of minutes ago, you can automatically make a series of generator output measurements at various loads. So just to kind of summarize, we feel that these should serve as delighters to our end users. The fact that this product has standards compliance, we've gotten rid of all the extra cables and boxes, so everything that you need, it comes with the box in one product. We have a quick push button operation for rapid testing, which should really speed up testing. Wireless data transfer proves to be quite handy and helpful for those that don't have a mechanism to connect or would like something more in line with technology today. Of course, making the ranges wider and adding more accuracy has helped make this product more compelling and compatible with all modern ESUs. And the weight definitely helps for those of you who need to actually go from facility to facility or even from floor to floor if needed. And we've expanded the load selection, as I had mentioned earlier as well, to test with some very common ESUs like the force triad. For those of you who are dialing in from outside the United States, the QA-ES3 has universal power supply, and also those that work for manufacturers that ship products all over the world. This product is compatible no matter where you are in the world. We have some end users that might be wondering what the differences are between the QA-ES2, the predecessor to the QA-ES3, so this kind of summarizes that. As you can see, we've added the IEC compliance. There's more loads for testing a different variety of ESUs. The current range is doubled. We're up to 5,500 milliamps with this one. The current accuracy, as I had mentioned before, you can see here that it's twice as accurate. Also, the frequency range for this product is up to 5 megahertz, which greatly enhances its capability to test more electrosurgical devices. And then there's a number of specs that we specified with this product that were not specified before that include load resistance accuracy, power accuracy, and mentioned before that we've got onboard memory, a universal power supply, no load boxes compared to the QA ES2, and a product that has the capability to transfer data in a variety of forms. So just to give you a quick overview, if you look here, you'll see the product, the QA ES3, along with a number of accessories that we're calling standard accessories. These are all included with the product. A number of these accessories were optional accessories before and added extra cost to the product. We have basically eliminated that. So everything that you need is going to come with the product, which greatly enhances the value of this product and essentially lowers the cost of ownership for you. We have kept a couple of highly specialized accessories like an international dispersive lead and a very highly specialized test probe set that we found is very, very rarely used. Those are still available. And then we've got the answer plugin, and basically what this means is that this product can be automated so that the testing can be controlled via PC, and parameters such as electrical safety and visual inspection can be combined into one report along with electrosurgical parameters, so you essentially get one test report with everything in one place that you can either attach to your CMMS or print or archive as you would like. So that's a quick overview of the QA ES3. If you would like to learn more about the product, we have a video that is available for you to view. This video will walk you through the features and functions of the product, and it is available on our website at flukebiomedical.com/QA-ES-3. So it's on the product page for QA ES3. And in the coming weeks, you will also see new videos that we will post. These videos are feature specific, and they will walk you through in complete detail on how to perform certain functions with the QA ES3 when it comes to electrosurgical testing. So these are very detailed and helpful videos that we feel that you will find useful, and you should look out for them in the coming weeks. This brings us to the end of the presentation. Be happy to take any questions at this point.
Thank you, Shireen. Excellent presentation. We do have some questions. Your new product, the QA ES3, can it test the force triad?
Yes, it can. As I had mentioned before, the product can test the force triad completely.
Okay, thank you. And then I don't know if this one would be a better question for you or for Jerry, but what about ligature testing? Can the QA ES3 do that?
It actually absolutely can, and that's what the new vessel sealing function was all about. One point, though, that should be made here is that to do ligature testing properly, one must be in the service mode of the ESU generator, the ligature unit, or the ligature function in the force triad. You really cannot do a valid test aside from being in that service mode. Once there, QA ES3 does a great job of allowing you to do the testing that you need to do so you can verify performance.
Thank you. And Shireen, what is the difference between the onboard automation and optional automation that you mentioned on the QA ES3?
The onboard automation is the power distribution test that I had mentioned. We talked about it during the presentation that there are loads that you need to step through and multiple parameters that you need to document. So the QA ES3 has the capability to automate that test and make the test pretty easy and swift. The optional automation is the answer plugin that I had mentioned, which is software that you can download from the Fluke Biomedical site and you can purchase. And that software actually allows you to automate the entire analyzer, to automate QA ES3 for all parameters. So you can actually perform complete preventative maintenance and control the QA ES3 externally through a PC through that optional automation software.
Okay, and I think this is a follow-up to that question, and you might have already answered it, but how does the licensing work for the automation software?
The licensing for the software is per computer. So if you have a QA ES3, you need to buy one license for the QA ES3 plugin, the answer plugin per computer that you intend to install it on. So, and you can, basically share that QA ES3 amongst different computers. So the licensing is not tied to the product; it is tied to the computer. So it's per PC.
Perfect. Jerry, we have a question for you. You mentioned built-in functionality. Does that mean that I do not need to buy any extra boxes anymore? And what about cables?
Right. Everything is in the box with the QA ES3 as it arrives on your doorstep. It's ready for use. All of the cables that you need are there, which means no more improvised hookups and wire-ups, no more options for burns. It's all taken care of through safety banana plugs for your test hookup. And in addition to that, it needs no external boxes to simplify the wire-ups or reduce the number of changes of wire-ups for the different kinds of tests that need to be done on an ESU these days.
Shireen, how can I learn more about how to use this product?
There is a lot of information that is available on our website. The link actually that you have on right now, flukebiomedical.com/QAES3. If you go to that web page, it talks about features and functions in detail about the product. It has the specifications, all the configurations that are available for the product. And in addition to that, there is a video that is posted that you will find very useful because it will walk you through exactly what the capabilities of the product are and how to use it. And in addition to that, as I had mentioned towards the end of the presentation, in the coming weeks we will be adding feature-specific videos that will show you how to use the product exactly when you are testing an electrosurgical device. So look out for that, and in the meantime, you can access the introductory video, which will help you understand and get acquainted with the product better. In addition to that, I'd like to mention that, of course, if you would like a demo, you can go to our website and request a demo, and we will be glad to have someone come in and show you how the product actually works.
Perfect, thank you. And this is probably in that video that you were talking about, but how do you transfer data from the QA ES3 to a PC?
The way to transfer the data from QA ES3 to a PC is there's two ways. We provide a USB cable that you can essentially hook up to your PC, or it also has wireless built in to the unit, so you can, if you have Bluetooth capability in your PC, you can transfer the data through the Bluetooth mechanism. Now the question is, how will the PC know? So we have a plugin, a mini plugin that you can download from our website. If you go to flukebiomedical.com, under software and downloads, you will find the QA ES3 mini plugin. And basically what that is software that you can install on your PC. It's completely free of cost, and that software will allow you to essentially manage the data. So you can extract the data from your PC right from the QA ES3 right into your computer, and then you can view that data in the format that the software provides, or you can import that in an Excel format to do data analysis on it, or you can create a PDF. So the option is up to you, but essentially we provide the software free of cost and a number of different mechanisms to be able to get the data out of the QA ES3.
All right, we have some more questions that have come in. I'm not sure who would be best to answer this one, so I'll just throw it out there. How can predictive maintenance save money when PM schedule and procedure cannot be changed? Can you provide an example?
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure Jerry would like to chime in here as well because we feel passionately about this one. So yes, PM maintenance schedule cannot be changed, and the procedure has a given number of steps. But what you can do is condense the amount of time it takes to perform that by automating the device. So, as many of our end users might already know, when manually pushing buttons and driving the analyzer, it's going to take longer versus when you have it connected to a PC and it's automatically making those connections and driving the analyzer in an automated fashion. So we have actually documented exactly in terms of time savings, both associated with the pushing the buttons and driving through an electrosurgical test manually, as well as writing the data down or even entering it into a PC versus automatically capturing it through a mechanism like Answer. And we found the savings to be incredible in most cases, and this is a conservative estimate. The savings are at least 20%. And when you look at electrosurgical devices, those actually go up to 30% depending upon how extensive the preventative maintenance procedure is. So there is an absolute savings that we have demonstrated and our customers have demonstrated in terms of the steps don't change, but the time can greatly be condensed both in terms of performing the actual test itself through automation as well as capturing the data electronically and transferring it electronically versus writing it down.
And that's all really good in order to get statistically sound data into the front end, into your database, which is where you do the statistical analysis, that long-term trend we talked about, that begins to inform you about what is changing and how it's changing in the device. So predictive maintenance is really about repair, about corrective action. It's not about the routine inspection, although that's where the information comes from. When you run the routine inspection as it's scheduled and as it's required to be run by the manufacturer, you get really, really good and very rich data that can be analyzed. The analysis of that data results in your ability to see those changes early while the problem is still easy to correct and inexpensive to correct compared with running it all the way to failure. And that's where you get the savings, is predicting and scheduling when you're going to take the medical device out of service, out of clinical use, do that predictive maintenance, scheduled repair, and then redo the testing and put it back into clinical use. Really, really great stuff. Not very many of us are getting there yet, but that's where we're going to really provide the best cost savings for our hospitals, is when we do that.
I think you spoke about this earlier, but if you could just clarify, we have a question here. Does the Answer software come with the QA-ES3? Can it be downloaded and used on multiple laptops?
Yeah, definitely. So the Answer software is available for purchase separately. However, if you would like to bundle the two together, we have that available as well. So the simple answer is you can buy the QA-ES3 standalone, or you can buy the QA-ES3 bundled with Answer software, and that is called a TA bundle or a test automation bundle. And if you actually combine the two, you actually get a savings in terms of we discount Answer for anybody who wants to buy the TA bundle. So it's up to you. You can buy it standalone or in its bundled. Both part numbers are available through us. Then there was a question about licensing, whether it can work on multiple computers. So the one license is only good for one computer. If you'd like to get Answer to work on multiple computers, you actually need a license for each one of the computers. So the product, I'll repeat again, is licensed by computer. Answer is licensed by computer, not by the QA-ES3, the mainframe product itself.
We'd like to remind you, don't let yourself get overwhelmed by imagining what you think that's going to cost you, because there are lots and lots of ways that we work with our customers to make sure they get the tools they need to be able to get their job done in an efficient manner and collect all of the data in a really good way. So don't worry about that so much. By the way, did we say Answer is a lifetime license? That means you pay for it once. And when we change the plug-in version that you purchased your license for, you don't have to worry about buying a new license like you do with Microsoft or somebody else. You just go ahead and continue to use that plug-in no matter what the version is. So this is all, you got to wrap your head around it a little bit, but it really, in the end result, is a savings for you, not a huge cost. There's lots of ways to get there. That's what our sales department is all about. They're really good at this, so be sure that you ask.
All right, thank you. We had a question. How often should you calibrate your equipment?
I'll take this one, Shireen. This is important because it goes to your metrology and your traceability, which is really, really important to managing the risk and keeping the patient safe who the medical device will be used on. We have a 1-year calibration cycle, and the reason for that is because as we look at all our data on each and every one of our models of test equipment, we look to see how long we could ensure that calibration is going to hold fast for you so it doesn't fall out of its own specifications, the test equipment specifications, during the calibration period. And so 1 year right now is what we are highly confident or highly certain about. And by us providing that level of certainty about our accuracy and keeping that accuracy over the duration of the calibration cycle, that's why we say 1 year. If we thought we could extend it and you would always get the experience of a longer period than that, we would specify a longer period. So 1 year is our current calibration cycle, especially including QA-ES3. And we recommend that you always send your test equipment back to its original manufacturer or their authorized service center, because you will get the best results out of your calibration, and any hardware or firmware updates that need to have been included prior to any adjustment that's made, should an adjustment be required.
All right, and then we had a question, is that Bluetooth or network wireless?
It is Bluetooth is the answer to that question.
All right, thank you, Sharon and Jerry, and thank you again to today's sponsors, Fluke Biomedical. One lucky attendee today will win lunch for their whole department. Details are included in the post-webinar survey, which will appear on your screen shortly. You must complete the survey to obtain your certificate of attendance. If you do not see the survey, email us at webinar@mdpublishing.com. Thank you again to everyone.
Thank you.